have this vivid memory of sitting in the bathtub one time and just crying.
I think I punched my dad once.
You're not in charge of me right now. Like, you just won't leave me alone.
I had an epidural in my back, so I couldn't move very well.
She just wanted me to keep pushing and keep going.
Everybody had one. Like, if you didn't have one, you were looked down upon.
This is a show where teenagers share their experiences growing up in today's world. I'm your host, Dr. RJ, and this is A Teen's Perspective. What I want to talk about today is depression. So I think it's a good topic to have, or at least discuss, because depression is like so common these days. I mean, when I was a kid, I was your age, it wasn't common. Why do you think depression is more common now than it was in previous generations? Put it in the chat. Why do you think that? Tell me, what do you think? Aiden said it's the internet. Yes, toxic people, technology, social media, access to more information and bad news. That's actually a good one. Isolation, that's a good one. Thanks for sharing that. COVID-19, yes. Fear of socializing. All right, so I think you guys are right on. So I think all of you are saying that. Social media, technology, there's more isolation. Obviously, COVID makes it very difficult. So the fact of the matter is, I'm sure all of this is contributing, right? But we do know that's the case. Now, I'm going to bring up something that you guys probably never thought of as a reason for the increase of depression. So this is one that no one has mentioned yet. I didn't think you guys would mention it. And it's because of the word itself. Have you thought about that? The word itself is so like common now, right? Like when I was a kid, we didn't really talk about it. You really even think about it, but now it's like common. In fact, there are certain groups of people who actually think it's cool to be depressed. Like I learned about this like 2 years ago. You know, there was like these groups, I don't know what you call them, but these groups is like they feed off of each other from being depressed. And they'll like have these conversations that'll be like, hey, I hate myself and I'm ugly. And then the other person will be like, oh, I'm uglier. And then they'll just like feed off each other, like feeling down. Like I was like, what? So I will say the name itself is more common now. So I would think that also is something that contributes to more people feeling depressed. Now, the second reason I want to add to you, I also think it's misdiagnosed. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share that. I believe depression today is misdiagnosed. There's a very, very big difference between clinical depression versus someone just saying I'm depressed. And I want to educate you guys on this. So if you are feeling this way, you will not go to the word depression. Now, before I get into that, I do want to talk to you guys about the power of your words. If you've been with me for some time, you know your words basically creates your belief. So if you say something over and over and over, you will start to believe it. And when you start to believe it, you will actually start to notice it. All right, I'm gonna give you an example. So I had this teenager I was coaching, and he didn't believe anything I was saying about belief. So I was like, hey, trust me. If you believe something, it will come true. Or if you believe something, you will see it. I used to tell him this. He didn't believe me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this test. For 2 weeks, I want you to go outside. I want you to look at the sky. And I want you to say the sky is red every single day for 2 weeks. And guess what happened? He did it and he saw red in the sky. Now, the reason this works is because your mind doesn't know what is real or fake. It has no clue. Right now, your mind has no clue what's real. Anything you tell your mind, it will believe it. So perfect example. Have you noticed that there's something in the past that happened years ago that if you think about it, you'll start crying or you'll start laughing? Like Elena's laughing about something that happened years ago. How is that possible? If something happened like 5 years ago, how can you laugh about it now? Or how can you cry about it now? The only way you could feel that is if your mind believes it's real, like it is actually happening. And that's what happens when we go and think about something in the past. And say, for instance, something really funny happened, you actually replay it in your mind and your mind believes that it's happening. So you start to feel it. In fact, we actually have techniques to help you overcome something traumatic in the past. It's really cool, actually. So something in the past, we can literally overcome something dramatic. So Elena is a survivor, guys, by the way. So Elena had cancer. And she beat cancer. So now she was like, hey, cancer, I don't care about you. And she can laugh about it because she beat it. She won. So great job, Elena. I'm glad you share that. Aiden said Elena won. Cancer, 0. That's what I'm talking about, Elena. Great job. She has a great attitude. But my point of sharing this is that things of the past, we have ways to help you change the memory of the past so it doesn't affect you. So it's really cool. We've used it several times. I don't care how traumatic it was. I can literally change the way you remember it, and it will completely change your life. The reason why we could do all these things is simply because your mind doesn't know what is real versus fake. So whatever you tell it, it will believe it. So the point of me sharing that is because our words mean something. Our words create beliefs. So if you go around and saying, hey, I'm depressed, guess what's going to happen? If you keep saying it, just like the guy outside, he said, hey, the sky is red. The sky is red. He saw red. If you say, I'm depressed. Well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel depressed. So let's talk about depression. Now, ultimately, the way I like to describe depression, I like to describe it as like quicksand. So who here knows what quicksand is? Yes. So it sinks you. It's like quicksand. You sink. And guess what happens? Like the more you fight and the more you move, you actually sink further. That is exactly how depression feels. Because remember, your mind and your body are connected. They really are. So when you feel depressed, it's a crazy thing. It starts with the mind. In most cases, it starts with the mind. And then guess what happens on the body? What happens when you feel depressed? You don't feel like doing anything. You're not inspired. You don't want to move. In fact, people who are depressed don't even want to get out of bed. Now, the reason why this is quicksand is because the very thing you need to do to help yourself or fix yourself, not be depressed, you can't. Think about it. It's very simple. If you're feeling depressed, you need to move. You need to exercise. You need to move, right? Your body has to release these hormones. You got to move. But guess what? How can you move? You don't feel like moving, So that's why it's like quicksand. You go in this spiral, man. It's like you wake up, you have no excitement, no motivation. You stay in bed, and then you don't move. So then your body feels even more of the stress hormones. And then you feel more stressed. You feel more defeated. And it's like you just keep spiraling downward. Now, you guys know you do not have to experience that. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you a few things, but you don't have to experience that. Before we go there, I want to make it very clear. There are basically 2 types of depression. When I say clinical depression, there is depression that is completely out of your control. It's biological. Something is off in your body. Like a hormone is released that's off, your thyroid is messed up. Something in your body can create this depression and you can't do anything about it. Like the mind trick will not work. That you actually need medication for. You need to go see a doctor. They need to medicate you to get your body back in line so that you can feel better. But the good news is this, that is a small percent of people. In fact, if you have friends who have been depressed, most likely none of them has been a true depressed, like something's off in their body that's causing it. Majority of people today who experience depression is mental. So I want you guys to remember it's mental. It's all in your mind, which means we can get you out of it without medication. And that's why I always tell you guys, I believe it's overdiagnosed. There are too many kids now who are on medication and relying on pills to feel better. But your mind, you can do this. And I'm gonna give you a couple tips on how to do that. Also, I'm just curious. Tell me how many people that you know in your circle who have claimed to be depressed. Put it in the chat. How many people have in your circle has claimed to be depressed? Wow, I see most of them, all of them. 2, 6, 1, too many. A couple people said 0, 0, actually none. Nishka said none. Jacob said none. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Now, this is why I'm kind of bringing this up because you're right. So many are saying they're depressed, right? I want you guys to know that if it's not biological, and the way you know if it's biological is if you just literally wake up, you don't feel like energetic, like you just lost your energy. You don't know what it is. You like wake up, you feel tired. You feel like you have no energy. You don't feel happy. You're just kind of like, I don't feel like doing this. Your friends come over and it's like you want to laugh and you want to have fun with them, but it's just like, I just don't feel like it. All right, so that's when you want to go to the doctor and get checked. So that's when you go to the doctor because we want to make sure that it's not anything biological. Now, if you are just experiencing sadness, like something happened, you feel down, like COVID, yes, this person like during COVID, yes. If you start to feel sadness, well, you have to intervene immediately, okay? You have to do something immediately. You can't just stay in your sadness. You can't wallow, all right? Like a pig. Don't pigs like wallow in the mud. They roll around. You can't just be like sad and be cool with being sad. I hate to tell you that, okay? Now, this is where life coaching differs from therapy. And this is also why your parents have you with me as a life coach and now with a therapist. You know, they say the people with problems go to therapy, all right? The people with goals are the people who want to achieve something come to a life coach. But I believe everyone should be with a life coach. You know, I think therapy is meant for more for mourning and grief, but definitely not for sadness. Come on now. That's what I'm here for. So I'm going to tell you how we're going to change this. But my point I'm trying to share with you, I don't want any of you being comfortable sitting around with sadness. Now, let me clarify that. I am not talking about grief or mourning. Obviously, if your puppy died, it's okay to be sad. It's part of the process. If you have a loved one that passed away, it's a grieving process, mourning process, that's okay. But I'm talking about the normal day-to-day stuff. Oh, COVID I don't get to see my friends, I'm sad. I'm talking about, oh, my best friend is talking to somebody I don't like, I'm sad. Or, oh, somebody didn't give me likes on my Instagram. Or someone left me on red, I'm sad. I don't want you to be comfortable being sad with that. We cannot be comfortable being sad with that. My best friend isn't my friend anymore. Because sadness is going to do what? Who remembers my thought triangle that I taught literally up 2 months ago? It's a thought triangle. Who remembers it? Put it in the chat if you remember. I'm going to give you a shout out if you remember it. It starts with something that goes to something that causes something. Who knows it? Everything starts with a thought. And then a thought creates what? What does a thought create? Starts with, yes, Naveen. I knew Naveen knew it. I knew it. So you have a thought and your thoughts create feelings. So you feel based on what you think. So you feel based on what you think. And then what does your emotions or your feelings, it influences what? Yes, Celeste. Celeste is all about it. Action. All right? Action. Your thoughts cause a feeling and your feelings will determine your actions. So it's very important that we understand that because our feelings is the reason why I don't want you to be sad. If you're going to be sad all day, that means you're not taking action to do anything. Does that make sense? Thumbs up if that makes sense. It makes sense? Okay, perfect. So perfect example. I'm going to use this example. My friend, my best friend doesn't want to be my friend anymore. So naturally, that's going to feel bad. You're going to feel hurt from that naturally. But the emotion of feeling sad is not to wallow in it. You don't want to just stay sad all day. You want to change, I would say, the emotion so you can do something about it. If your friend doesn't want to be your friend, what can you do? What can you do? You can what? Talk to her, right? You can talk to your friend or him. You talk to him. Number two, you can do what? You can learn from the situation. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I need to apologize. But maybe I can find a new one like Evan. Maybe it wasn't meant for us to be friends. I'll find a new friend. But if you're going to be sad, what are you going to do when you're sad? There's two things you do when you're sad. You take no action and you beat yourself up. That's what you do. Everyone, when you're sad, you take no action and then you start beating yourself up. Oh, no one likes me because I'm too fat. I'm too ugly. I'm not cool enough. I'm weird. I'm tall and skinny. Like no one wants to be my friend. I'm not cool. I'm not like them. So you start beating yourself up. That's beating yourself up. That's what you don't want to do. Now, let me give you guys a tip on how to avoid depression. This is the easiest thing ever. And the way I know how to avoid depression is we look at the group of people who are literally never depressed. Can you name right now a group of people, age group, who literally never experienced depression, ever? Who do you think? Grandparents, babies, kids. Yes, Zion's right. Toddlers, that's it. It's toddlers. Now, babies, we don't count babies because they're just babies. They don't really talk. I'm talking about like a toddler. Yes, toddlers literally never depressed, ever. I don't care. In fact, my sister, she works for the Child Protective Services, all right, the CPS. And she's director of 3 counties. So for you guys who don't know what that is all about, her job is to take kids away from people who are not responsible with kids. All right. Essentially, if I had to just break it down, she literally would show up to their house, whatever time of the night. Many times she showed up at 3 a.m. with a cop and say, listen, we're taking the kids. They're coming with us because the parents are just not responsible. They can't handle it. So that's her job. Now I'm going to tell you about the toddlers. You take a toddler in a very traumatic, abusive situation and you put them in a loving environment. I mean, it's almost like they've never experienced the abuse or something. I mean, it's just like amazing how the toddler is just like, they just flourish. But now the older you get, you have a bad situation, like it's haunting you forever. These toddlers, I mean, they're just like a new situation, like, whoa, life is cool. I love it. All right. So I'm going to teach you how to avoid feeling depressed by learning from toddlers. Okay. Because this is definitely works. I promise you. In fact, I have toddler. I have a 1.5-year-old, I have a 3-year-old. Man, you learn from them. you will feel very motivated every day. So let's go through the 3 things that we can learn from toddlers. All right. 3 things that we can learn from toddlers. Now, raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if you have a toddler in your household, like a sibling. All right. I see Aiden. I see Mary. I see Evan. So what are the ages? So give me the ages. So you guys are like the older brothers and sisters. That's so cool. All right. Let me explain to you because I have a toddler so I can tell it to you. All right. Number 1, what we can learn from toddlers so we can avoid depression. They're active. They move. Okay. When a toddler wakes up, they're like off to the races. I mean, like me, I'm waking up, I'm tired sometimes, and I'm like dragging. A toddler, as soon as because for my household, we have a light system. So he must stay in bed while the light is red. As soon as it turns green, he can get up. He can run out the room. So as soon as I turn the light green, it's like my little guy's off to the races. He like runs around, he runs downstairs. I mean, toddlers are active. Now, the reason why we want to be active is because we have hormones in our body that builds up. Cortisol is one of them. It's a stress hormone. So you going through the day-to-day, school, dealing with people. I mean, people can be stressful, right? I mean, I know you guys know, man, dealing with people sometimes can be stressful. But school, your teachers, you have all this pressure. Your siblings are so smart and you're not quite as making the grades as your siblings. So they put pressure on you, your parents, your friends, it's pressure. So what happens is your body builds up this cortisol and you feel stressed. So when you move, it releases those hormones. So you feel better naturally. So you have to move, all right? We each want to make a commitment to move. So in the chat, I want you to share with me something that you literally can do every single day. I'm not saying you have to run a marathon. I'm not saying you have to lift weights. You need to move your body. You have to move, do something. Listen to the little, I like to move it. You got to move, okay? Dance or something. So put in the chat, what are you going to commit to this week to do every single day? Put in the chat. Someone says, take a walk. I'm going to dance. Run around the neighborhood. I like it. Walk my dogs. Hoop. Move from my bed to my couch. A little more than that, Haley. Basketball, right. Play volleyball. Do push-ups. I like it. Now, this seems very easy, right? Some of you are thinking like, this seems very easy. Well, if it's so easy, why is it that people don't do it? What do you think? It's easy, right? Go for a walk. Why do people not do that? Lazy, unmotivated, mood changes, lazy. Okay, so I'm glad you brought it up. All right, so I'm going to explain to you something about being lazy because I hear this a lot. Like, I'm just lazy. There's no such as being lazy. Okay, I'm just telling you now. So if you have ever been accused of being lazy, it's a lie. There's no such thing as being lazy. It's nothing. You're not naturally lazy. There's no such thing as you're not born lazy. Let's be for real. The reason you call yourself lazy or people call you lazy is because you're just not inspired to do anything. You're just not inspired. Motivation comes from inspiration. You have to be inspired to do something. And that's why COVID was so damaging, right? Because you guys, they took away your friends. They took away going outside and hanging out. Some of you guys lost your phone. Like your parents took your phone away. And just so you know, as a life coach, I told parents not to do that. Okay, I'm on your side. I literally would coach parents. I have a podcast for parents. And I literally tell parents, whatever you do, do not take your child's phone away during COVID. Okay, that's their only lifeline. You can't take it away. You have to find another way to punish your child. You can't take their phone away. So what I'm trying to share with you is you have to be inspired. Now, how do you get inspired? That's the question. How do you inspire yourself so you will take action? So perfect example. Do you do homework? You'd be like, no, I don't do my homework because I'm lazy. Well, it's not you're lazy. You're just not inspired to do your homework. As you guys say, I don't exercise. Why? Because I'm lazy. You're not lazy. You're not inspired. How do you inspire yourself? Who knows the answer? So you see everybody's writing carrot. A carrot will inspire you. So that brings me to my next thing about toddlers. All right. So we're going to tie all this together. So as you notice, Elena, Jacob, and everybody else kept saying carrot. A carrot is how you inspire yourself. The way I get the terminology of carrot is from the old school. If you have a donkey and you want the donkey to go, you have a carrot in front of the donkey. So, obviously it's trying to eat the carrot. So it just moves in the direction wherever you put the carrot. All right. So the reason why I want to say this is that we all have carrots. I remember saying this to some kid. He's like, yeah, we all are donkeys. But he used another word. But yes, we all have carrots. We have a carrot that we are constantly chasing. Now, for most of us in your age group, I'm going to tell you what it is for most of you. And now some of you may deny it. I'm not a big believer in absolutes. So I will not say that 100% of you this applies to, but I would say most of you. So your carrot in your age group, most of you, is attention. I'm just saying that, all right? I'm just saying. You could be like, oh, that's not me. And maybe it's not you, but majority of your carrot is attention. So in other words, attention can come along the lines of popularity. It can come along the lines of just being recognized by your peers. It could come along the lines of having the most interactions from family, teachers. In fact, some people will actually misbehave to get attention. You like literally do what you're not supposed to so you can get their attention. We see on social media, people, especially on TikTok, plenty of people will show their everything so they can get attention. I mean, it's just what it is, all right? So that is the carrot. Your carrot of your generation is attention. Now, is that a bad thing? It's not. It's not a bad thing at all. I want attention. Hey, I'm just telling you now, I want attention. Attention is not a bad thing. The way I like to explain it, you can have attention with good intentions or bad intentions. Attention with good intentions or bad intentions, right? Ultimately, attention is your carrot. If you know that, then you have to attach whatever you're trying to do to that thing. All right, so I'm gonna explain it to you. So we're talking about running. I say running is easy or exercise is easy. Why do people not exercise? Well, it's because they don't have a carrot. They're not inspired, so they don't feel like doing it. But if you thought to yourself, okay, I want to run every day because I want to lose weight. And if I lose weight, people will look at me and think that I am attractive or I look better, right? That is a carrot. So that person is going to do whatever is necessary to get to this carrot, this attention of people thinking that they're attractive, right? You may ask yourself, well, why when people who want to lose weight, they start, but then they stop? That comes from belief. They no longer believe in the carrot. All right. So if they believe that if I run every day for 3 weeks, then I will get attention from others, then they will do it. But what happens is they run, and then they're not getting any extra attention. So then they just give up. They stop. So you have to know your carrot. Now, what I'm going to tell you guys is it's okay to have a carrot and it's okay to want attention, but keep in mind, you never want to attach your self-worth to your carrot. That's super important. Your self-worth should always be separate. So perfect example, I always tell people that I think one person asked me one day, it's like, hey, RJ, I get what you're saying about the mind thing. You want to believe in yourself. You want to believe that you're beautiful. You want to believe that you're amazing. You should believe that. So then is it bad to try to improve yourself? I thought that was a good question. That was a great question, right? Is it bad to improve yourself? Absolutely not. It's not bad at all. But it's a difference, okay? It's a difference. If you're losing weight so you can feel good about yourself, you don't want to do that. But if you're feeling great about yourself, you think you're amazing, but you're losing weight because you want to lose weight or because you want to be slimmer, go for it. And that's what I'm here for. I'm your life coach. My job is to help you accomplish your goals. So yes, you say, RJ, my goal is to lose weight. And guess what I'm going to ask you? Why do you want to lose weight? And that's what I'm going to find out. And if you tell me it's because I just feel like I'm worthless, well, guess what? Are we going to start walking? Are we going to start talking about a strategy to lose weight? No, we're going to talk about you, about changing your mindset, because you have to believe in yourself, in the fact that you're amazing, beautiful, have unlimited potential. Once you've reached that place, then you can start doing everything else you want. You can start putting on muscles. You can start losing weight. You can start using face washes to get rid of some of the acne, all this other stuff. You got to believe in yourself first. And the reason why that's important is because if you're going to attach your self-worth to losing weight or gaining muscles, it's very dangerous to play that game. It's very dangerous. Say, for instance, it's COVID and there's no gym is open and it's freezing cold because you're in the north and you can't go outside and work out. Then what? Then you're going to start beating yourself up and then you're going to slip into depression, right? So you cannot attach your self-worth. Your self-worth is over here and then goals are over here, all right? So that means no matter what happens to these goals, whether you accomplish it or not, your self-worth is not affected by it. That makes sense? Thumbs up if that makes sense. So back to what I was saying, carrots. So your carrot is something that you want. So right now, I'm telling you guys to move and exercise so you can feel good. If you feel good, then you take action to get what you want. That's why. But you can put your own reason for it. All right. So that's there. Now, let's go to number 2, which is probably the most important, I think, is toddlers have an amazing imagination. an amazing, amazing imagination. So isn't it a shame that when you're a toddler, you like can literally see like so many cool things? It's like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I have this stick, like my toddler, man, he get a stick and he'd be like, Daddy, this is my leaf blower. Cause he loves like landscaping tool. So he'd go in the yard and be like, and he has a stick. But that's such an amazing gift for you guys to expand your imagination based on what you see in front of you. So I'm going to tell you this. Everyone who's created something so amazing in life, a crazy imagination. So Elon Musk, who knows Elon Musk? What did he do? Put in the chat, Elon Musk. His imagination is not like a 14-year-old imagination. His imagination was a 2-year-old's imagination. That's the only way you can do that. You have to have a 2-year-old's imagination to do that. For example, Martin Luther King, his whole like I had a dream speech. He had a 2-year-old imagination. He saw something that wasn't present. Because at the time, people were like, what are you talking about? It's impossible for all of us to be on this call together for this day. All different backgrounds. It's impossible. Who could ever thought of that? He had an imagination. He had a 2-year-old imagination. Anybody who's ever created something, the Wright brothers, every single invention has been made. The internet, you know, Amazon, right? All these people had a 2-year-old imagination. So that's what you guys must have, because when you have a 2-year-old imagination, you don't have time to be sad. You really don't. Why would you be sad when you think like, oh my gosh, I'm going to create something that's going to impact the entire world? Like literally, how can you be sad? Think about it. How can you just sit in sadness when you know you're about to impact the entire world? So from 2-year-olds, they have this imagination that's so expansive. I mean, there's no limits. And this is what I encourage for everyone I coach. In fact, when I do this goal setting teaching, I always tell everyone to choose one stretch goal, a stretch, stretch. I'm stretching my shirt, something that stretches you. So yes, some of you are straight A students. You say, hey, I'm gonna go to a good school. Well, that's not a stretch goal. Because you're straight A's, you should go to a good school. I want you to stretch that. When you say you want to go to like Harvard or Yale, stretch yourself. So always come up with at least one stretch goal, because what that's doing is it's stretching your imagination. Because the fact of the matter is you guys can literally create anything. Literally anything you want, you can create it. But it all comes with belief. If you're only focused on what's right now, then you won't believe anything. And that's how you can be sad, right? It's like, hey, I can't make any friends during COVID. Okay. And this is what I literally heard from, I would say over 50% of people I've coached since March is like friendships. I can't make any friends. Haley's made friends. I already told you how she did it. But guess what? Imagine if you had a stretch imagination. And imagine if you thought like a 2-year-old. You would actually think something else. You'd be like, you know what? I'm having a difficult time making friends. Someone else is having a difficult time making friends. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to create something that makes it easier for people to make friends during COVID that's going to impact thousands of people so that we're not struggling making friends, right? Think about it. So that's a 2-year-old imagination. Now, some of you are probably thinking like, well, you have social media. Well, obviously that's not working. If you guys don't have friends, it's not working. So you have to get beyond what you think is normal, what you think is possible. And you have a 2-year-old imagination and be like, wait a minute. Imagine if I was a 2-year-old and I could just dream and imagine of anything. What could I create that could help teenagers make friends when you have to social distance? What can I create? I don't know. Can you create an app? Maybe you create, I don't know. I mean, like I said, you have to have a 2-year-old imagination. Think about it. You guys, Zoom, somebody said Zoom. Yeah. How could you use Zoom to make friends? I don't know. My point I'm trying to share with you is you want a 2-year-old imagination, because that's going to stretch you. And that's what's going to also help you with the third thing that Toddlers do great. So if the 2-year-old imagination makes sense, give me a thumbs up. All right. Now I want each one of you in the chat to give me something that comes to your mind right now when I say 2-year-old imagination. What is something that you think that you could create, that you want to create, that is like out of the world, that just came to your mind? I'm not saying just like make something up to be funny. I'm saying literally when I said the word like 2-year-old imagination, imagine something popped in your head, at least some of you. Something cool just popped in your head. Share it with me. I'm curious what it is. Share it with me. Ooh, a flying hoverboard. That's cool. I want that. I don't know, dinosaurs. That'd be cool. Bring dinosaurs back, like Jurassic Park. That would be super cool. A dress made of pom-poms. I like it. To be a big YouTuber and Twitch streamer. I like that too, Sean. thinking that your living room couch can fly and transport you to a pyramid. And God, hey, I actually believe at some point they're going to come out with something that's like the Jetsons. That's right before your time. You guys don't remember the Jetsons. That was when I was a kid. But the Jetsons was so cool because it was back in my age and like none of this stuff was even possible. But the person who came up with the Jetsons, they had a 2-year-old imagination. They had these like flying saucers and all this cool stuff, like robots before we even knew that it was possible. Cool. So this is what I want you guys to start thinking about. Have a 2-year-old imagination. Now, say for instance, you start to put belief behind that. Say you put belief behind this flying hoverboard that can literally take you at least 5 miles, all right? And it's safe somehow. Oh, speaking of flying hoverboard, did you guys know, I don't know if this is common, but I just saw it like literally 2 weeks ago. This person, there's these 3 guys, they have this parachute. I'm not sure if you've ever seen this. And if you have, tell me what it is. I don't know what it is. But they have a parachute. And they strap this huge fan on their back. And guess what? Like they take out running and it like propels them in the air and they like fly. Have you seen that? Oh, okay, it's called paragliding. Man, it was the coolest thing ever. I'm serious. Because I got a chance to like see them start up. Like, I was like, hey, what's happening over here? I see a parachute, I see a huge fan. And I started talking to the guy. He's like, hey man, we better go fly. I'm like, man, this is cool. So I took a video of it and everything. But anyway, if you were thinking about the flying hoverboard, all right, it was your invention, and you thought it would impact people's lives, how is it possible to spend all day being sad? Just think about it. I'm just asking you, is that possible? If you're like literally trying to create this flying hoverboard and you just know it's going to be so cool and you're working on it and then your friend calls you or texts you and say, hey, I don't want to be your friend anymore. And you're like, why? What did I do? I just don't want to be your friend anymore. And you're like, man, that sucks. Like, man, we were cool. Anyway, I want to make this hoverboard, right? Like it's just, you are not going to sit around and being sad all day. I'm just telling you. So you got to learn from a 2-year-old. Final thing from 2-year-olds that we can learn from. And this is something years ago I was extremely shocked by, but I'm no longer shocked by it anymore. But years ago, I've been coaching for over 5 years. And years ago, I was like, I don't understand this. But anyway, the third thing we can learn from toddlers is toddlers know what they want. All right? A toddler knows what they want. My little guy every day, Daddy, can I have this? No. Can I have this? No. Can I have this? Why? It's like they know what they want. Guess what? Guess who doesn't know what they want? People. I don't understand it. I don't understand why teenagers, adults, sometimes they just don't know what they want. I mean, when I first learned this was like I say years ago, I'm like asking the teenagers, hey, what do you want? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? How you don't know what you want? But now I get it. I know why you don't know what you want. All right. So I'm going to tell you why you don't know what you want. 2 reasons you don't know what you want. Fear and doubt. When you're fearful of something or you don't believe that you're going to get it, you stop thinking about it and you get to this position. Toddlers know what they want. They know it. Now, for some reason, some people don't know what they want. And I told you it's because of fear and doubt. Like if you don't have confidence in yourself and you stop to think that you were created for a purpose and that you have something special that you can do, like only you could do in this world, you stop caring. All right. And when you get to this point of you don't care anymore, you don't think about things that you want because you think that you're not going to get them. So what I want from you to learn from a teenager is to start, Christmas is coming up. And for a lot of you guys, when you were younger, you used to make this little wish list to Santa. You'd be like, I want this, this, and that. I want you to have that attitude every day. Okay? I want you to know what you want every day. Don't wait till the end of the year for Christmas. Don't wait for your birthday. You literally should know what you want every single day. And I'm going to tell you how you do that. How do you know what you want? By answering this question. Ask yourself this one question, and then you'll start to know what you want. Over the next year, I want you to create the perfect life. If you had this magic wand and you could start just putting things that's going to happen and you could create this perfect life, I want you to describe to me that perfect life. What would that look like to you? Because everybody's will be different. Everyone's going to be different. So I'm going to tell you my perfect life that I'm going to create for myself. I'm going to tell you this because I do the same thing I tell you guys to do. So for 2021, this is what I want for myself. This is how I want 2021 to look like for me. I want to work 4 days a week. All right. Because I'm working 6. I want to do 4 days a week. I want my mom to live with me. All right. She already wants to live with me. We're working on it now. So I know it's going to happen. I want my sister to move to Austin. I want 2 of my best friends to move to Austin because that's where I live. I want my brother to move to Austin. I'm trying to get everybody to move here. I'm serious, man. This is what I want. I want another child. Okay. I do want another child. I have 2 boys. It's Jeremiah and Isaiah. And I want a 3rd boy. His name is Daniel. You see how I speak things into existence? I want a healthy boy named Daniel. I'm speaking that. He's not here, right? Like, I don't know if we're going to have another boy. I would love to have one. I'm telling you what the perfect life would look like for me. I do want a Lamborghini. I'm just telling you, I will have a Lamborghini next year. I want a Lamborghini. At first I wanted the Aventador, but it's changed because they came out a new one. It's the STO. It's a new one, the STO. Because right now they have the Uticon, or some people say Huracan, but it's pronounced Uticon. But they have an STO. I think I want that one. I haven't sat in it. All right. Now I did sit in the old one, the Evo. I'm too tall, man. I'm 6'5". And look, you see how my camera, look at my camera. You see right here? This is how my head was right there when I was sitting in that Lamborghini. Like my head was on the ceiling. I can't drive like that. So yeah, so I do want that. All right, what else? I have financial goals I'm not going to share with you. Okay, I'm not going to tell you my financial goals. And then the final thing that's going to make next year perfect, if I will not have to spend summer in Texas, because it's too hot. Okay, it's hot. I want to be in Utah, my favorite place to go skiing. I want to be in Utah. I'm a multi-millionaire, not a billionaire, but I have other goals. But I will be a billionaire one day, but not now. And yes, playing basketball. Yes, I want to play basketball. Okay, that's enough of me. Tell me your perfect life. Come on, talk to me. Let's see. Nishka's saying playing basketball, songwriting, making money through songwriting. Cool, making more friends. I like it. Sean says owning a little office with my friend where we can create video game content and live in an office with my friend and 2 more editors and 2 full recording studios with 4 editing offices. And, man, this is so cool, Sean. That's what I'm talking about. Man, you guys make me so happy when I read stuff like this. I'm serious. Not having to worry about anything, says Raquel, living around family. I get Drake and Lil Uzi Vert on a song with me. That's cool. I know Drake. I don't know Lil Uzi Vert or whatever. I don't know who that is. Sorry, I only listen to Christian music. I'm pretty boring, I know. I don't listen to rap or anything like that. But I do know Drake because Drake is pretty popular. I want to live in a little apartment in Boston and be a writer and ski in the winter. Hey, Ava, make sure you invite me. I love skiing. It's my favorite thing to do in the winter. Being a screenwriter, that is super cool. Being on a competitive swim team, good job. A competitive snowboarder, I like that. So that's it, guys. So that's the third one, is to know what you want. And the easy way to know what you want is to start thinking like, hey, what is my definition of a perfect life? What is my definition? And not your definition. What is my definition of a perfect life? And I'm not talking about like future, like 10 years from now. I'm talking about like now. What is your definition of a perfect December? What is your definition of a perfect January? Start to write those things out. You want to write it down, okay? You want to write it down. Write what is necessarily your vision of a perfect life, and that will become your wants, because that's what it is. You're wanting these things. So what do you do when you have your want list? So to help you guys out, oh, Jacob is on it, man. It's funny. None of you can read Jacob's responses because I think he does it by accident, but he puts all the responses on the private. But I know you don't mean it to be private. But yeah, you're absolutely right. But anyway, you take this list. So what is my definition of a perfect December? And you write it down. So I want to have 5 friends. All right. My definition of perfect December is me having 5 friends and going skiing. That is your want, okay? That is your want. Remember, a 2-year-old knows what they want. Now, what do you do after you know what you want? You take action. That's what Jacob said. You take action, all right? So if you want more friends, take action. Guess what? Right now, hey, guys, my goal is to have 5 friends. I would like to make friends with someone. That's what Haley did literally like 3 weeks ago. If you want to go skiing, what do you do to go skiing? Hey, Mom, I like to go skiing. Oh, we can't because of COVID. Well, what do you do then? Say, okay, Mom. So you have this conversation with your parents. Hey, I want to go skiing. Oh, we can't go skiing. All right, you wait. And you say, hey, Mom, I'm just curious. You mentioned yesterday that you didn't want to go skiing. I'm just curious. Why do you not want to go skiing? Well, because COVID. You know, I'm really worried about us getting COVID. Okay, thanks. I was just curious. You leave. And then you come back. You say, hey, Mom, you know what? That makes great sense. You know, COVID is definitely a concern. I'm curious. Is there any way to like travel nowadays and be safe from COVID? Is there any? Can you think of anything? Because I was trying to think of something. And who knows, man? Sometimes the parents will be like, oh, yeah, we can wear masks. You know, and like, guess what? Let's do that and go skiing. You know, there's different ways we could do this. But I just wanted to kind of tell you, if you have a want, you have to take action to get it. Don't wait for it to fall in your lap. Don't wait for it to bump you upside your head. You literally take action immediately. And this is how you're going to avoid depression. If you start to be like a toddler, if you learn these 3 things from a toddler, if you are mobile, if you're moving every day, if you have a what? Imagination, a 2-year-old's imagination. All right, I want you to start dreaming big. And then 3, if you know what you want and start taking action to get what you want, you really do not have time to be sad. Does that make sense? Thumbs up, everyone. I will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoy listening to the group coaching session. And I also hope that you were able to learn something that would help strengthen the relationship between you and your teenager. Until next time, this is a teen's perspective, helping parents see the future.